you don't remember this, but our grandfather, he had a rocking chair that was made to only rock forward, not backwards, so he could fake interest in conversations. Yeah. Hey, welcome to the Closing Beat, everybody. Happy Monday. How you doing? Don't sweat it, man. Don't sweat it. It's going to be okay out there. Don't worry. This is a quick show that we do to talk about the stock market, give you some updates and things, and just kind of skip the garbage, get right down to it, and see how things are going. I'll do like I always do. I'll go through the class. We'll talk about what we have for you here today, and then if you have questions, I'll stick around as much as possible to answer questions. If you have no questions, then I'm just going to get the hell out of here. You know what I mean? Got to do what I got to do. Hey, our Wine and Wealth class last week, we talked about paying down your PMI or not. What are your alternatives there? And going through some of the numbers to kind of talk about that. Use an actual client as an example. So if you are one of our clients, feel free to check that out. We are currently not accepting new clients. Hopefully that changes soon, but we're building out some cool stuff in the background, and we just decided we've got to put our efforts towards that. And we don't want to have people upset if we bring them on and we're not quite ready and the technology doesn't work. And if you're not familiar, we're building everything from scratch here internally. So trying to do things a little bit different, and different it is. It's a lot of fun there. Hey, let's get started. Look off to the right-hand side of your page. Not a whole lot, as far as movement today. We'll keep this short today because the market is really gearing up for a busy week. This is the busiest week of earnings season out of the first quarter reporting that we're doing here. Also, you have the largest S&P names reporting. You got Alphabet, Tesla reported already, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, and so there's going to be a lot of attention on these headline names this week. So the market's really content to say, I'm not going to do anything until I see how this goes. I don't want any surprises there. When you add up those stocks and you're talking about 25% weighting of the S&P out there in just those names that report, it's very normal for traders to sit back and say, I'm good. I'll just kind of ease into a Monday. Let's see what happens going forward. This morning we had earnings come out. Not one single stock missed on earnings this morning. That kind of carries over from last week, where this earnings season, there are lots of beats. I went over the stats with you there to talk about that, and just incredible, right? We've got 30 names to report. I believe after the close already, there's been 30 names to report, so you're getting a feeling of how that's picking up there. 47 names in the S&P that have reported already. Just thought this was fun, testing out a few new things here. 47 names mentioned in their report and in their conference call the word inflation. So don't think you're the only one not noticing that one there. That's more than any other quarter in the last 10 years, right? So if you just pick a word and you say, well, how often did they mention this word? 47 of them mention it so far, and it's early in earnings season there. That's more than the last 10 years there. Net profit margins for the S&P 500 of the companies that have reported so far are above the 5-year average. That's something that people like to track. We're at 11.6. I believe the 5-year average is 10.6, somewhere in there. And every analyst at this point believes we're going to have an 11 in front of that number when we get to the end of earnings season there. If we go over to the markets here for today, we'll start with the Russell 2000, your best performer today and year to date. It's up almost 17% year to date. If you're digging through there a little bit, you're going to find GameStop. That's your biggest contributor today. Actually, it finished down just a little bit off of its highs, but still an 11% gain on the day, almost 12%. Biggest contributor overall, but there's a couple others you might know of. Redfin, the real estate company there that's online, big gain today, almost 10% gains on the day. And I want to point out Plug Power, maybe coming out of the downtrend here, about 4.5% gains on the day. Those are going to be your biggest contributors to the moves that you saw in the Russell today, and that says a lot because it's hard to be a big contributor in the Russell the way it's weighted. If you got the NASDAQ here hinting at making new highs there, headed back for a 10% gains a year to date there today, thanks to Amazon. Hopefully Amazon is officially waking up. This has been a snoozer for a while. Amazon, of course, with their earnings coming out, that'll wake things up. And Amazon is the most volatile stock of the mega super duper cap stocks to report. Up 2% on the day. It was your biggest contributor. If you look through there, you're gonna find Apple. Also one of the bigger contributors today, and PayPal. There you go. These were your top 3 biggest contributors in terms of weight on the day. Tech led the way in the NASDAQ today. Some impressive gains in some names that haven't got a lot of attention lately. DocuSign waking back up there. It's been quiet since we got into the thick of the virus there. Up 4.25% today. There you go. Skyworks hit new 52-week highs today. Kind of interesting breakout, if you ask me, from a technical perspective. That'd be 4.5% on the day. You've got other semis in there as well. AMD looking good, waking up above the 200-day again with some decent volume on the day, I might add. You can look through the semiconductors and find a lot of great performance there as well. Xilinx 3%. You can just go through the list, Lam Research and things like that. Decent days. Moderna. Oh, let's go over here. So Moderna with a decent day. They're working with Sanofi, however you say that there. Sanofi is going to be producing 200 million doses of their vaccine to help kind of share around the world and stuff. So I got a little positive bump there, and a couple other drug makers as well, but they're boring. If we look at the Dow here, you got a lot of help from the banks. The Dow was down on the day, but look, it was not for lack of trying with Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. That even finished up on the day. And American Express, your better performing bank out of the Dow stocks today. Problem is, you had names like Home Depot just starting to pull back. That's a welcome sign for Cody. I know he's got a short on that position there. United Healthcare pulling back a little bit, and Honeywell, your biggest drags on the downside. And you look at something like that and you think, that's the opposite, right? Last week it was the banks wouldn't participate, but these stocks did. This week we're already starting off the other direction there. So we'll see. I mean, that's probably just has to do with earnings and everything coming up for the week. The S&P 500 is up 12% year to date today. It's going to be your Amazon. It's going to be your Apple. It's going to be your Facebook. Biggest contributors for the day. They make up over 12% of the S&P. Just those three names. So you get the feeling of, ooh, okay, here we go, right? We're talking about this now. Consumer staples were the weakest today, and that's where we'll start our sector breakdown, actually. If we go to the sector breakdown, look at the bottom. You got consumer staples here. Was the weakest for the day and stayed the weakest through the whole day there today. It was a broad sell-off, and it was just everything was holding lower. There was no real attempt at rallies throughout the day. Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Pepsi, Walmart, Costco, Philip Morris, Mondelez, and Altria, all some of the weaker names inside of there. I would argue that you're starting to see the starting point of maybe some decent pullbacks here, right? Coca-Cola, Pepsi, it's early, it's very early still, but you're getting those pullbacks in some of these staples names that if you're one of those that believes that the market is, what is it doing? Why are we up here? It's just a lot of work and it's just overextended, right? And you think, well, I'd like to go move into some staples. This could be good timing. You got consumer staples working their way back for you while everybody's looking over here. We'll kind of try to keep track of that because there may be something there. We go over to transports. This is not a sector, but we're looking at transports here today. I just want to follow up on one of our research posts that we did where today's performance was all, how did we mention it? People and things, or people and products, I think is what we said there. Today, if you're looking at this here, the products were weak again. So if you're one of our research members and you're in there, products, transportation companies that move products were the weak area as they have been. If you break this industry into two groups, you are either outperforming or you are not. If you're holding the industry itself, then, I mean, you know, it is what it is. But Old Dominion, UPS, C.H. Robinson is in here somewhere. There it is. These were all the weak ones today. You got airlines. Where's all the excitement? The things that move people. If you're not a research member, you get the drift, right? Transportation companies that move people are outperforming transportation companies that move things or products. So we kind of made a post on that to kind of show the difference in those two areas there. American Airlines, let's go over to it. American Airlines today, Delta Airlines, all getting positive moves there. We'll talk about that here in a minute, but we'll move on. Real estate continues its little mover here. Best performer last week, and it continues good enough here today. Continues well, you can see it. I mean, just you don't have to sugarcoat that. Just a nice, clean, steady uptrend there. Today, Simon Property Group, the biggest contributor. We happen to own it, so we're excited about that. It got an upgrade at Evercore to $128, helping us out. Also hinting at a breakout, right? You can see it there. $128, not the biggest move of all time, but for Simon Property Group, if you sat through this, you'll take it, right? No big deal there. And then you have Weyerhaeuser. We happen to own this one as well. Almost hitting new highs, didn't quite get there. They're killing it on lumber prices, right? I made a TikTok or what thing with the kids. You know, you go on there and you use your phone. So I did one of those to kind of joke at the price of lumber. We put it in our notes from Jazz last week. Have you seen the price of lumber? Well, Weyerhaeuser, 80% of their sales come from lumber. They're timber company. That's what they have. Trees everywhere. They knock them down. They make wood, sell them to home builders and Home Depot and all that great stuff. 80% of sales. So you can see, well, that's being baked into the price already and doing well. So if you haven't been in on something like that with this run in lumber, well, you're looking in the wrong area, probably. Basic materials, great strong rally here today, just continuing from last week. It's not the most exciting area. I just thought it was funny that Freeport-McMoRan. So last week I teased this one because there was a day where all the basic materials were higher and Freeport was lower. It was actually the underperformer last week. Today it's the strongest. So far you'd have to say it's the strongest performer for the week there. But a couple other names, Albemarle looking good, breaking out there, starting to move higher. All is looking good there. And Ecolab almost to new highs. But technical traders going to notice this sort of, what pattern is that? Someone want to tell me? About to break the highs, looking good. And so that's really the sector breakdown. I don't need to spend a lot of time on that today because throughout the week, we're probably going to spend a lot of time watching these sectors just diverge all over the place. You've got, earnings avalanche coming out this week, so be ready for that one there. Speaking of earnings, let's go over to it. Should we go over to it? We're going to go over to it. I think we've got that there. Here, first thing I want to show you, if you didn't see our notes from our FinTips video today, here are, besides Alphabet, and admittedly, it's my fault. It was on my sheet when I made it, and then when I took the picture of it, it was not on the sheet. So I don't know what happened, but Alphabet needs to be included in this list as well. Here are the earnings stats for the super duper mega cap stocks reporting. Tesla's already reported. We'll cover that here in just a minute. I believe Tesla beat quite easily. So Tesla, 93 cents a share. We were only expecting 79 or 70 something cents a share. Revenue up 70%, 72%, somewhere in there. Looking good for them. Deliveries, I believe, were as expected. I think the stock is still down a little bit after earnings, down about 1.8%, well within the expected move there for Tesla. But these are the big names in terms of what is their stats, right? So you know the stats here. You don't need to hear that. Maybe this person wants to be on the show. You got Microsoft. There's performance beat rates, their revenue beat rates, average performance, and like I mentioned a minute ago, Amazon being the most volatile out of the group there. Moving on to some of the other names. Oh, did I give you everything there? We talked about Apple and Amazon. Let's go over here. Oh, there we go. So Albertsons, it's a public company. Large grocery store, right? Sells off today, down about 5%. They beat on earnings by 14 cents, weaker revenues, raised their guidance going forward there. Is it not a viable pullback? There's not a lot to do there if you're an option trader, but from a stock perspective, if you look at their earnings, they did good for Albertsons. A grocery store, that's really low margins, right? So very tight company or tight ship to try to run there. I thought they did really, really good, in my opinion. If you look through Albertsons, sales were up 12% year over year, earnings beat by 17%, and their margins about 6%. I thought that was impressive. The problem is, for earnings going forward, they said, our sales are probably going to be a little bit lower, to the tune of about 6%. I think that's that one little hook that gets people to sell that maybe makes it an attractive and interesting opportunity there. All right, let's go over to Otis. Is this on our list here? Yeah, we're working our way through. So Otis Worldwide, elevators, escalators, people movers, right? This is what Otis does. You've seen the trucks and cars around there. Earnings were higher by 13%, beats the street's highest expectation by 5%, looking good there. They raised their guidance going forward. That's great. Gets them to move to new highs. We happen to own it, so we're happy to see that moving to new highs. They said they saw an 18% increase in their equipment orders in the U.S. and China. That's very good for them. They don't see double-digit increases in equipment orders all that often. What does that tell you? People going back to the places where they need to use elevators and escalators. Corporate buildings, airports, right? Kind of interesting there. All right, looking through here, I'll point out Checkpoint real quick. So Checkpoint comes out, beats by 4 cents. Revenues as expected. Sort of a wild day for Checkpoint. They've been busier. These guys are out of Israel, if you're familiar with them. They've been busier lately because, well, you saw what happened with Apple, the ransomware attack that they're going through. I didn't catch the latest update on that, but there's been a lot more cyber attacks around the world. These guys have been busier. Their subscription model's working well. Not sure why it was down just a little bit on the day. I actually cannot Cannot say. I'm not disappointed by their earnings there if you happen to be a part of that one. Let's go over to new highs and lows for the day. Let's take a look. There were 102. There's so many you could go through. I don't even know what to do here. I'll just point out ones with interesting technical patterns, and you could take it from there. So we're going to Martin here, breaking out new highs today about 2% higher. You could see it. Series of higher lows, a series of equal highs, and all of a sudden you get a recipe for a breakout with clear skies above you. Maybe that means something better going forward. VMC doing something similar. It's a little sloppy at highs if you ask me, but that breakout is consistent and slow, which I'll take it. Dish Networks, I would argue maybe a little bit extended, broke above the highs with their Amazon deal last week, and the upgrades and all that good stuff. Morgan Stanley went to $45. Yes, they had $45 price target. You just kind of think, is this getting a little extended? If you had a wide range day tomorrow, would you be thinking to buy the stock or maybe take your profits? If you're thinking take profits, but you don't have profits to take because you didn't play the stock, would you not be thinking counter trend on that one? Maybe just a little bit. Something I can't wait to cover in our office trades segment. Pulte Homes there, moving higher by 1.6%, even despite higher costs, labor costs, and equipment and materials costs. Home builders, man, they're just killing it. Orders are up, closings are up, everything's good for them. And Discover, what do we got on Discover there? So Discover upgraded by Bank of America, was it? Yeah, so that was the Bank of America one I read. The Bank of America said that remember how we talked about their earnings and we said that some banks and credit cards were able to loan money. Others were not, meaning they have more deposits than they have loans out there. So they're bringing the money in, but they can't seem to loan it out. Not the case for Discover. And so Bank of America said that they think that their future loan expectations are actually understated and that they will be able to loan out more thanks to a consumer belief that this company is sort of friendly and that we want to work with it. It was there's probably more higher educational words that I could use there, but people trust the company. They like the company more so than others, and they're likely to do business with them when it comes to personal loans and opening more credit cards and whatnot. So there you go. Stocks in the news for the day, and then I'll take your questions. You got Apple slightly higher on the day. Lots of things for them today. Adding $1 billion or investing $1 billion into North Carolina to expand their headquarters there. They're going to focus on AI and machine learning there. I didn't know that was a hot spot for that. They're also going to be focusing on schools around there as well so that they can bring up people in that sort of educational system that would be helpful to them in the future. Over the next 5 years, they're going to put in $430 billion across the U.S., add 20,000 jobs, and I don't know. We'll see what happens there. There's a little bit of excitement for Apple today. Netflix, this was in This is a good one to buy on dips and to treat it as a reopening play. And their argument was that, yeah, people have Netflix, but those that are going back to work and stuff and they're doing the work, they'll be quick to come back and say, well, now I can take some Netflix. I can afford some Netflix. I'll go for that. I don't know. American Airlines. There you go. So American Airlines gets a handful of upgrades today. And if you look across the board at all the airlines, not too bad, right? Some of them, just kind of halfway did it today. But JetBlue, Delta, United Airlines was okay by the end of the day. A little small range day there. But that's where the action's happening. You have the news in the over in Europe that says we're going to allow people to start traveling here from the United States as long as they have vaccines, and that's helpful to the larger airlines. Not so much JetBlue, but the larger airlines really did well on that one there. We talked about Discover already, so no need to go back to that one, but looking good there. And Johnson & Johnson, here's something you won't hear really anywhere else. So Johnson & Johnson's going to work, the vaccine is being unpaused, right? You've heard that. That's nothing new. Didn't really move the stock today. No real reason why we're just going to unpause it. Maybe some public uproar. I don't know. But also, more interesting, they're also going to be launching their Mentor breast implants. Yeah, that didn't get picked up in the news there. So I did a little research. Did you know that, Cody, 20% of all patients that get breast implants, in particular this one, have them removed within 8 to 10 years because of problems, deflations, punctures? 8 to 10 years, 20%, 1 in 5. Or is that 1 in 10? Because there's, is it 1 in 5? 1 in 5 patients. All right. These new breast implants, which could be pretty big for these guys, have a lifetime warranty on them. And if in the first 10 years they rupture or become, they malfunction, I don't know how else they would malfunction.
Rupture doesn't sound good.
No, that was their words. I wouldn't have thought that. That's a big word for me. Rupture is a big word. If it happens within the 10 years, they will actually pay for your surgery to have them replaced. Because you think, oh, well, it's got a lifetime warranty, but somebody's got to go in there and fix the thing, right? That's a nice thing for them to do. Yeah. So that's Johnson & Johnson. I thought that was more interesting than the vaccine. I mean, wasn't the vaccine hurting like 11 people? So I don't know. We'll see what happens there. And that is it for Stocks in the News. While I let your questions line up there, if you have any, I'll take a look. Oh, boy, you got some earnings tomorrow. I hope you're ready. Get some rest tonight, all right? What else do we have here? No, that's about it. It's a slow start to the week. Like I said, we don't have to spend a lot of time here, but that's what you got. We take a look around. Oil was basically flat. That's been a snoozer lately. I want oil to wake back up. I don't care up or down, but look at that. Oil's a bit of a snoozer. Gold was a snoozer today. Not a whole lot there. Everybody's going to just wait on these earnings. Let's see what happens. Let us see what happens, and we will. Well, okay. Doing the people's research. No, I just find it interesting. Like when there's a headline and then there's a sub-headline, it's like, all right, well, that didn't get a lot of attention. I don't know. Let's learn something new. I didn't know that. Honestly, didn't know that. I think that seems like a little, like too short of a time. Let's just pretend it's cosmetic and not medically needed, and you decide you want breast implants. 8 to 10 years to have a 1 in 5 shot that you got to take them out for some reason. It just seemed like a short time frame to me. Yeah. I don't know. Cool. Gaming stocks up across the board today. Any particular reason worthy of a deep dive? I like talking about gaming stocks. I like when they pop up on the radar there. I was looking all over elsewhere today. ATVI higher, yes, 1.33%. The problem is, give me something to go on. You know what I mean? Like if I look at something, you're going to give me the potential for a new uptrend, maybe. The potential for a breakout. Right? If you look at Take-Two, okay, so it was up a little bit today. Let's go to ATVI. It was more interesting today. But overall, I don't have anything to go on. You know, I've got just sort of a flat price movement here. So for that reason, I'll kind of like give them a break. We'll come back after a week or so and take a look. You know. Hey, is the market still oversold? Overbought is what you're trying to say. Yes, overbought. The S&P, severely overbought. Yeah. Yep. That's not new news. Or old news. Yeah. 3 days after a big drop on that Albertsons. Okay. Man's got his rules. I like that. Yeah. What is a good dividend to put some money in? I'm not sure what that question is. Good dividend stock or ETF or something maybe you're talking about? Yeah. Yeah, I'll get out of the way. You know, you got old Musk talking. I want to get out of the way. It starts in 5 minutes, huh? If anybody's going to be on that call, Harry, I expect you to ask some questions now. See if you can get some questions answered. Yeah. Oh, I appreciate that. There you go. Appreciate it. Oh, you didn't mean the gamers. You meant gambling. Hot space right now, right? Everywhere. You got Jersey. Well, Reed, I sent you that article that over the weekend, New Jersey accounts for more gambling than Las Vegas?
Yeah.
On the outskirts? Yeah. Fascinating. Well, I mean, and I think they weren't saying because Vegas is like shut down and stuff. I think they're just saying generally in any times. Wow. There's a lot. That's Cody's area there. He pays attention to all that stuff, but I like to read every now and then. Yeah. All right. Well, I guess I got to go because people are bugging me here. We'll be back tomorrow to do this all over again, and I hope you learned something. Thanks for watching there, and if you would subscribe, they'll let you know when we come back tomorrow. All kinds of goodness, man. It's a slow start to the week, but hang on tight. It's going to be a lot going on. We'll try to keep up with it and be back tomorrow.